5 reasons why being with people doesn't feel good to you. Have you ever stepped into a room full of voices, with laughter and chatter bouncing everywhere, and all you wanted was to turn around and leave? It's not just feeling awkward, it's a heavy, nagging sense that you don't belong, even when the room is full of faces you already know. People are often described as social beings, right? We grow up hearing that friendships and connections are what bring joy, that sharing life with others is what makes it full. But why then does being with a group sometimes feel like your energy is being squeezed out drop by drop? Maybe it's the constant need to put on a show, to keep smiling, laughing, and talking, even when inside you feel completely drained and empty. Or maybe it's because so many conversations stay shallow, like water only touching the top, while your thoughts sink deep like stones to the bottom. There's also the push to blend in, to act like you belong in a space that feels too messy, too loud, too overwhelming. And then comes the judgment. Oh, the judgment. The looks when you leave early, the little comments that make it sound like something must be wrong with you, just because you'd rather enjoy your own company for a while. They ask, why don't you like being around people? As if there could be one simple answer. But you know it's not that easy. It's not that you hate people. It's that your needs don't always match with the noisy, busy way social life works today. The real story is that there are many reasons behind this feeling. Each one comes from your own personality, your past, and what your heart truly wants. And those reasons? They're not mistakes. They are pieces of what makes you who you are. So let's look at them closely, not to make excuses or to push them away, but to respect them and maybe to learn something new about yourself. 1. You are an introvert. There is a quiet kind of strength in solitude, isn't there? The stillness feels like a soft blanket, wrapping you in calm. In those moments, your mind finally has room to breathe, to wander, to stretch out like a traveler who has been waiting too long at a crowded station. For you, solitude isn't loneliness, it's freedom. It isn't about running away from people, it's about coming home to yourself. As an introvert, your soul longs for depth, not for endless crowds or constant chatter. You don't want the shallow thrill of quick conversations that skim the surface and vanish as fast as they came. What you crave is the richness of a real connection, the kind of conversation that lingers in your mind for days, the kind that makes you feel truly seen and understood. But how often do such moments appear? Most social gatherings float from one topic to another, like leaves blown in the wind, never settling long enough to mean anything. And then there's the cost. For you, every interaction takes energy, like coins being quietly handed away with each word, each smile, each polite nod. You don't dislike connection, far from it. You treasure it when it's genuine. But when the balance doesn't feel right, when the energy given outweighs the meaning received, you can't help but wonder, is it worth it? The world, however, isn't built with introverts in mind. Society seems to expect everyone to be lively, talkative, the shining star in every room. If you're not, people tilt their heads as if something must be wrong. What they don't see is the vast inner universe you carry within you. Your imagination and your thoughts swirl like galaxies, full of wonder, full of color, though they shine quietly, unseen by most. So you step back, not because you fear others, not because you look down on them, but because preserving your core is essential. You know that constant noise can blur the edges of who you are. Solitude, then, is not an escape from life. It is your return to essence. It is the place where you feel most alive, most yourself. And if the world chooses to call that antisocial, you do not mind. You know the truth. Solitude is not emptiness. It is presence. It is the rhythm of your own soul, steady and strong. 2. Trust issues. Trust is like a fragile glass, precious, beautiful, but so easy to shatter. Some people have given that glass away too freely, only to watch it slip from careless hands and break. If you've been betrayed by a friend who turned their back, a partner who broke your confidence, or a relative who failed you when you needed them most, you know the weight of this. Rebuilding is never easy. Trust issues aren't about being paranoid. They're about protecting yourself, about survival. Imagine opening your heart, pouring out your soul, only for your words to be twisted, mocked, or used against you. The pain isn't just sharp, It's dizzying. It makes the world feel unstable, as if the ground you once stood on no longer holds steady. Suddenly every connection feels uncertain, every rule of human closeness rewritten. The hardest part is not just doubting others, but doubting yourself. You begin to wonder, can I even tell who is safe anymore? Can I still trust my own judgment of people? And so, you pull back, not because you've lost the desire for closeness, but because the price feels too high. Every conversation feels like a bet you can't afford to lose. To trust again feels like peeling back a wound that has only just begun to heal. It isn't just fear of pain. It's fear of repeating pain, of stepping once more into the same fire that already burned you. But trust issues don't only build walls, they sharpen your senses. You become skilled at noticing the smallest signals. A glance that lingers a little too long, a laugh that doesn't match the eyes, a tone of voice that hides something beneath the words. Where others shrug these things off, you collect them, like tally marks in a private notebook, deciding carefully how much of yourself to share. It's not that you've sworn off people altogether. Deep inside, you still hunger for connection, for the comfort of being seen and accepted as you are. But now that longing is balanced by the hard-earned lessons of betrayal. You've learned, sometimes painfully, that not everyone deserves a place in your heart. Still, rebuilding trust is possible. It just doesn't happen all at once. It begins with the smallest steps, a kind word that rings true, a laugh that feels safe, a promise that is kept again and again. It's about finding those rare souls who show, through their actions, that they are worth the risk. Until then, it's okay to keep some distance. It's okay to guard your heart like the treasure it is. Trust should never be handed over carelessly. It must be earned. And you, after everything you've been through, have every right to demand that it be earned well. 3. Spending time with the wrong people. Not all company is good company, and this might be one of the most overlooked reasons you sometimes step back from social life. It's not that you dislike people. You just don't want to be around those people, the ones who drain your spirit, frustrate you, or leave you feeling emptier than when you arrived. You know the type. The overtalkers who never pause to breathe, who treat every conversation like a stage where only they belong. The complainers who wrap every word in negativity, dragging the air down around them. And then there are the subtle ones, the people who lace their comments with hidden barbs, insults disguised as kindness, leaving you unsettled, doubting their intentions, and sometimes even doubting yourself. Encounters with them don't feel like social moments, they feel like emotional chores. Picture this. You're sitting across from someone, nodding politely, while they go on and on about themselves, not once stopping to ask how you're doing. Your presence feels less like friendship and more like free therapy for them. Or maybe you're with someone who always manages to turn a pleasant moment into drama, feeding off conflict the way some people crave air. By the time you leave, your body may be present, but your energy feels stolen, and it's not just the toxic ones, sometimes it's simply a mismatch of worlds. Maybe it's the friend who drags you to noisy bars when all you want is a quiet coffee and real conversation. Or the colleague who pushes you to attend every office party when what you crave is to go home, rest and recharge. Their intentions may not be cruel, but their refusal to see you, the real you, wears on you over time. After enough of these experiences, socializing starts to feel heavy, awkward, even painful. You catch yourself wondering, is it even worth it? Slowly, you begin to link people with exhaustion rather than joy. It's not that you don't care about others. It's not that you lack warmth. It's that too many encounters with the wrong ones have left bruises that remind you to be careful. And so you choose solitude, not as a rejection of humanity, but as an act of self-respect. You learn to protect your peace the way you would guard a precious flame from the wind. Because in the end, it's not about avoiding people, it's about avoiding unnecessary pain. 4. Low self-esteem. Sometimes the reason you shy away from people has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with you. There's that small, sharp voice in your head whispering that you're not enough, not interesting enough, not clever enough, not worth the space you take up in someone else's life. Of course, you don't show this to the world. On the outside, you might look fine, smiling, polite, maybe even confident. But inside there's a storm of doubt. Every interaction feels like walking through a field of hidden traps, where one wrong step could set off judgment, rejection, or embarrassment. So you replay conversations over and over, dissecting each word you said, each glance you caught, each laugh that came out the wrong way. Did they think you sounded dull? Did they notice how your smile felt forced? Did they walk away thinking you were strange? These thoughts circle endlessly, spiraling until the simple idea of being around people feels terrifying, like being pushed onto a stage with no script, no costume, and every spotlight aimed at you. The cruel part is how this doubt feeds on itself. The more you retreat, the more isolated you become. The more isolated you feel, the harder it is to step back out again. It becomes a loop, a cage made of your own thoughts, with the lock on the inside. And even though you hold the key, it doesn't feel that way. But here's the truth, that voice in your head isn't you. It's just a story, a false script your mind has written and repeated so many times that it feels real. Breaking free starts with realizing that most people aren't nearly as harsh as your inner critic. The world isn't watching you with magnifying glasses and scorecards. Most are too busy carrying their own doubts to notice yours. You are not the shaky narrative your mind invented. You are more than that. And the first step to proving it is daring to believe, just for a moment, that you deserve to be here, to be seen, and to take up space without apology. 5. Social anxiety. Have you ever felt your chest tighten, your heart race, and your palms grow damp just from imagining walking into a crowded room? Social anxiety isn't just being shy. It's like stepping onto a battlefield inside your own mind. Every glance feels like a spotlight, every silence like thunder, and every word you speak feels like it could explode into disaster. Picture this. You're invited to a friendly gathering. You know the people there mean well. You know the place will be casual. But your mind doesn't care. It begins its endless chatter long before you even arrive. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I say nothing at all? What if they notice how nervous I am? By the time you step through the door, you're already drained, not from talking to anyone, but from wrestling with all the imaginary scenarios your mind has thrown at you. Once you're there, even the smallest details feel like mountains to climb. Every smile feels stiff. Every pause in conversation feels endless. You become hyper-aware of everything, your posture, your voice, even the way you're holding your drink. And when the evening finally ends, you don't feel relief. Instead, the post-mortem begins. You lie awake, replaying every moment, analyzing every sentence, every laugh, every look. Did I sound foolish? Did they secretly judge me? Did I ruin everything? It's not that you don't want connection. You do. In fact, deep down, you crave it. You want to be part of the conversation, to laugh freely, to feel like you belong. But the fear of being judged, misunderstood, or dismissed builds such heavy walls that reaching out feels unbearable. So you retreat. Not because you dislike people, but because you're trying to protect yourself. For many, social anxiety is born from past wounds, times of embarrassment, rejection, or ridicule that cut deep and left scars. Those memories become ghosts, haunting the present. While someone else might shrug off a small slip, you carry it like a stone in your pocket, replaying it until it feels like proof that something is wrong with you. Over time, this creates a cruel cycle. The less you engage, the rustier your social skills become, and the harder it feels to try again. Isolation deepens, and with it the fear grows stronger. But beneath the fear lies a truth. The world is rarely as harsh a judge as the one living in your head. With patience, kindness toward yourself, and small steps, those chains can loosen. Maybe it begins with saying hello to one new person, maybe with practicing self-compassion, or maybe with seeking support from someone who understands. Each step shows you that you are stronger than the anxious voice wants you to believe. Overcoming social anxiety isn't quick or simple, but it is possible. You don't have to run into the storm all at once. You can take it slow, protect your mental health, and move at your own pace, because at the end of the day, your well-being is more important than anyone's opinion. And here's the bigger truth. Your tendency to avoid people isn't weakness. It's a story woven from your experiences, your fears, your longings, and your pain. Solitude for you isn't just absence. It's a space where your creativity grows, where your mind finds calm, where you return to yourself. The key is balance, finding ways to step into the world without losing yourself in the noise of it. So, the next time someone questions why you prefer solitude, remind yourself, it's not about running away. It's about honoring who you are. And in a world that constantly demands your attention, that choice is more than self-preservation. It's a quiet act of rebellion worth celebrating.